Sometimes you gotta return to where it all started to realize just how far you've come. I grew up riding in New England, and coming back makes me think about all we've accomplished fighting for clean air, clean water, and the future of winter. But I still wonder, is it enough? I'm Jeremy Jones, and as a big mountain snowboarder, I saw a change in the mountains, and it coincided with what the scientists were telling me. Winter is changing. So in 2007, I started Protect Our Winters to organize around climate action and to celebrate the 175 million Americans that identify as outdoor enthusiasts and make up what we call the outdoor state. The environment wasn't always a divisive issue.
We can develop the great resources of this country, that they will contribute to a clean environment.
They've always been pro-environment.
Just as environmental problems respect no borders, our solutions must transcend political boundaries.
We have worked as one people for 25 years.
How did fighting for clean air, clean water, and a sustainable future for kids become so polarizing?
50% of all the living species on this planet are at risk of extinction.
We do not know how much effect natural fluctuations in climate may have had on warming.
4 years ago, I made a film called Purple Mountains about why, as a nation, we're so politically divided on issues of climate and the environment.
People tell you that, the climate's changing, we're causing it. It's meaningless.
Screaming total out of this world goddamn lie.
How can we get everyone as mad at each other as possible? I want to do this. It was relevant then, and it's just as relevant today. Since the film's release, Earth has experienced 2 of the 3 warmest years on record. And once again, our climate is on the ballot.
These events are the effects of human-caused climate change.
This year, I finally got back to the state where my professional snowboarding career began. Live free or die. That's the official New Hampshire state motto, and it defines the independent spirit of the people who live here. I remember driving to the comp on Friday afternoon and showing up to Black Mountain as a timid 14-year-old and wondering if I had what it took to compete. I left on Sunday with first place in the race and third in the halfpipe, and you could say the rest is history. 35 years later, and it blows my mind to think where that snowboard has taken me. From winning contests to starring in almost 100 films, to being voted Big Mountain Rider of the Year 10 times in a row, and starting a successful snowboard company, it's wild to think that it all started here. It was the friends that I met that weekend and the community who supported me that were critical to helping me achieve my snowboard dreams. And now, more than ever, we need more friends to create a bigger, more supportive community that can help us meet our climate goals and create a stable future for the kids. If we don't, who will?
Top to bottom. Are we clear to engage?
Clear to engage.
Copy that.
When I heard about a local community-operated ski hill focused on the youth, I had to see it for myself. Season passes are only $50, and seeing the joy of the kids riding a single rope tow was so refreshing.
Hi guys!
It's places like this that grow the outdoor state by introducing climate activists of tomorrow to the simple joy of sliding on snow. Abenaki Ski Team. Are adults allowed on this thing?
Yeah, how about it?
This is incredible.
Yeah, it is a jewel, let me tell you.
It is a jewel.
Yeah.
The mountain's owned by the town, and so taxes support it, and then there's another nonprofit that fundraise in conjunction with the town. For a small town in the winter when it's dark and it's cold, this is the place where the lights are literally on. It's like glowing.
It's fantastic as a winter sports place. It means a whole lot of kids aren't going home and playing video games after school. They're coming out and getting some exercise, making friends. Kids are allowed to do a lot of what they like. They come and ask if they can do things, and we usually tell them yes, and off they go.
Coming from a small town, having something you feel part of that's just bigger than yourself as a kid, as an athlete, it gives you that confidence to go try other things. And that's the end of the game, right?
Yeah, and if you build strong kids, you build strong towns.
Yeah, that's right.
I hear there's powder on the backside. Can you show me where it is?
Yeah.
All right, and I want you to show me how to get on the lift. All right, just grab and go. Woo! Wow, this thing flies! All right, this thing's not gonna ski itself. Look at Fastest rope tow I've ever been on. All right. Ditched by the kids again. All those smiles, laughter, and fun they had riding just a handful of trails got me so stoked. It shows the power of nature on the human spirit. And what's life without that? This place is sweet! It's the kids we do the work for. And it's heartbreaking to think about the void that will be left if places like this no longer operate due to the lack of snow.
If the winters got worse and we couldn't keep this place open, it would be just heartbreaking. I love it here.
You just lose a big layer. It's part of what the community bonds around. And so as you lose that, you just lose connection. You're gonna lose jobs. You know, people aren't gonna have as many jobs. The money doesn't flow through the economy and things get worse and worse and worse. And that's the reality. And so winter matters.
Yeah, that's what makes New England New England. You don't have that, you don't have any of it.
You're creating lovers of winter, and that's really the first step. You guys do your part, we all do our part, and collectively is how we hopefully move the needle and get us on a good path.
Well, thanks for your work with Protect Our Winters.
I appreciate that.
It's really important.
The reality is we're doing a major disservice to these kids. It's like we just threw this raging party and left a huge mess for them to clean up. And to me, it's just not okay. We've come a long way to understanding how a changing climate can endanger our culture and economy. But if we want to affect meaningful systemic change, we need more people to feel welcome joining our movement. Access to the outdoors is a huge hurdle for many. We need to be welcoming to people of all walks of life if we truly want to grow our coalition.
My name is Marty Fuller, and I organize events getting people of color outside doing fun outdoor activities like skiing. I'm so psyched that we have someone on their first tour today. I love.
First tour? Yeah. I heard about this group. I think it's incredible what you're doing, and I cashed in some Mother Nature cards for this incredible day. And this mountain is not going to climb itself. I'm chewing my arm off. We need to go start doing it.
It's important to ensure that everyone has access to the outdoors, and Black people and people of color have faced historical exclusion from this access. We're a country that's predicated on the idea of freedom, so it's important to get folks out together in community, feeling comfortable, feeling a sense of belonging that will enable them to do it on their own, aside from just in the groups that I coordinate.
Alrighty, good? All right, we can go. Skiing, 89% of skiers are white.
Oh yeah.
So I have always been a backcountry adventurer, and for so many years of that experience, I was like the only Black person and one of few Black people.
Yeah.
And people of any income and any disposition can enjoy nature in whatever way they want to.
That's great. I like to say you first got to fall in love with nature to want to try to protect it.
Absolutely. You got to fall in love with it. You got to feel belonging. You got to feel comfort, and you got to feel like you can make it your own.
Yeah, I mean, at Protect Our Winters, we call it the outdoor stay, which is just people that love the outdoors, and we need to grow that. The more people that love it, then are gonna want to preserve it.
If we could start to see all of these socio-political issues that impact our quality of life and our future has one interwoven issue that we need to address, I think we'd be in such a different place.
Nice work, team.
Break. Yeah, good job. We summited Mount Cranmore. Here we are. Oh, we get to ski now.
Hey, there's no mandatory airs. Let those skis just take you for a ride.
Woo! Okay, Robbie. Okay, Robbie.
Nice, dude. You got it down. We're taking steps to diversify the slopes, and with it comes new energy. It's refreshing to see all the amazing faces in this group, and it reminds me just how important it is to open the aperture of who's considered a lover of the outdoors. When we protect the outdoors, we must include all communities. And the imperative is clear. To make real change, we need to build a stronger, more equitable, and inclusive community, and that is a good thing. All right, does anyone want to go take a quick little hot lap? Charged up from my session at Cranmore with Marty and her crew, I headed to Emerson Aviation where I joined Max for the annual Ice Out call. For over a century, New Hampshire's citizen scientists have been keeping track of ice in when the lake freezes over and ice out when they thaw. And this year, the ice out on Lake Winnipesaukee was the earliest ever recorded.
Slip on the ice.
Where?
When you called the ice out, that seems like the community really relies on that information.
Yeah, so judging the ice out is important in New Hampshire because Lake Winnipesaukee is where a lot of summer tourism goes on, and ice out kind of marks the beginning of that part of the year.
So how long have they been keeping records of the ice in and ice out?
They've been recording the ice out since late 1800s.
So was that kind of a powerful moment when you called the ice out?
So this was the earliest ice out ever recorded. The ice in also was pretty late, and it wasn't even there for a day.
Do you feel the climate is playing an effect on the later ice in and early ice out?
For the past couple years, it has been different. I don't remember any winters like this, so there's something going on.
Yeah, it seems like so much of New Hampshire revolves around winter, both the spirit and the economy.
Winter in New Hampshire is a very important thing because there's a lot of outdoor activities that keep the state going through the winter. We have skiing, snowboarding, ice fishing. There's a very large network of snowmobile trails all over the state, so it brings in a lot of tourism, a lot of money, and it also keeps just the people that live here, gives them something to do during the winter. Whenever we'd post anything about ice out, people would say, it's earlier than it has been, and people aren't very happy about how the winter's changing.
Beautiful flying, thank you. The ice records make one fact very clear. We're losing winter, and fast. The Northeastern U.S. is warming faster than any other region in the lower 48, and New England is losing jobs and its culture as a result. Thanks to the hard work of climate scientists like Dr. Liz Burkowski from the University of New Hampshire, we're gaining a clearer picture of what's at stake.
When people look at science and data, sometimes it helps to bring it down to physical properties that you cannot deny. For example, the melting point of water. No one's going to dispute that. When you look out on your landscape and you see a lack of snow, you know it's been warm. And when we can tie that to the physical data that scientists are collecting, that community scientists are collecting, it tells a much richer story. New Hampshire just experienced its warmest winter on record. New England in general is a hotspot for winter warming. As a snow scientist, how many more years do I have working here trying to measure snow, and how many more winters like 2023 am I going to see? Is that going to become the norm? I hope not. And if we act on climate, we could save a lot of winter.
Welcome to the 2024 Pond Hockey Classic.
This is about the greatest sport on earth with the greatest people on earth all getting together on Mother Nature.
Oh, it's a blast. This is it's like Christmas.
This bay here hosts the New England Pond Hockey Classic. It has every year since 2010. There's been 4 years that we've had to move to a smaller body of water just on the other side of town because the lake hasn't frozen to a ice thickness level for us to be able to put thousands of people out here for tournament weekend. So we've had our challenges. I mean, I joke every year that we're reminded why hockey's played indoors now.
Explain to me what this would look like during the pond hockey event you put on.
Yeah, I mean, you would see 26 pond hockey rinks out there. You'd see thousands of people. You'd see ice fishing shanties. You'd see snowmobilers coming and going. Young kids up to grandmothers walking out here and enjoying the action. It's just a festival that celebrates winter, but it's all around the game of outdoor hockey.
You paint a really good picture. It's warms my heart to think about it, but it also, I can't imagine the void of when you can't have it because you don't have the ice.
This year, the last 2 years, we've actually had to move to the smaller body of water. So it's just becoming harder and harder for us to host the event. The individuals that really enjoy skating outside, I mean, it's almost becoming extinct, right? You think of travel and tourism, right? And you think of the communities that depend on the climate for the activities that are going to bring those people in here. The Lakes region in New Hampshire is just that. I mean, the Pond Hockey Classic, $3 million of economic impact. We've had some years that the stars have aligned and we've packed these bars and restaurants and they have better sales volume than they do on the 4th of July. For a summer resort town destination, that's pretty wild to think. We have ice racing clubs, we have snowmobile clubs, the ice fishing derby. We have one of the oldest dog sled races in the US, and every year those things are in jeopardy, right?
I love how sport can bring people from all different walks of life to come together and celebrate winter and ice. That's powerful.
New Hampshire is a small state. It's interesting. I mean, it's polarizing. Even the way we kind of vote is purple at times. But I think when you really get into the heart of what we're losing and what these communities want and what people like to do, it's can we all come together? Can we convene and kind of pull in the same direction and understand that, we're not that different?
Yeah, nature is nonpartisan. And if we can come around and at least unite and find common ground. Any climate action is a political issue, and with that comes the unfortunate divisiveness that comes with political issues. Climate wasn't always a political issue.
Each of us all across this great land has a stake in maintaining and improving environmental quality.
Republicans like Nixon, Reagan, even Bush all supported policies that protected the environment. It wasn't until the fossil fuel lobby started pumping money into politics and buying our elected officials that the facts behind climate science came into question.
This global warming controversy is unprovable, but that doesn't stop people on both sides from swearing they know what the heck is going on.
That's when it became clear to me. If we wanted to prove that clean energy was not only good for the environment, but could stimulate the economy, we needed to vote it in. So I came to Dixville Notch, the tiny hamlet that's the first place in America to cast votes in every major election. The biggest political party is the party of non-voters. And New Hampshire is a purple state, an equal mix of Republicans and Democrats, where elections are often decided by just a few thousand votes. And make no mistake about it, climate is on the ballot, and those votes will decide if the window to pass climate policy is open or shut. So we're at Dixville Notch, which for over 100 years is where the first votes in the country were cast. And some of those are actually at this old ski lodge right over here.
The population of Dixville Notch, New Hampshire is up to 6, all of them registered voters that expect to be there at midnight on January 23rd when the polls open.
The midnight voting tradition goes back more than 6 decades in Dixville Notch. And of course, it draws reporters from around the world looking at New Hampshire to get the very first indication of who the voters want to see in the White House.
As I see on the wall, you've had so many presidents and politicians come here, and you have such a small vote, but looking at the wall, it's a really powerful place for them to roll through here.
Yeah, we've had our share of visitors, as you can see from some of the pictures. There's George Bush. John McCain was here a couple times. He spent a fair amount of time just talking to Dad.
I have an organization called Protect Our Winters, a bipartisan organization focused on uniting outdoor-loving people to rally around clean air, clean water, and policy that protects that. But the main thing that we push is just get out and vote.
It's all about working together. So everybody's vote does count, and that's why, we say over and over and over again to everybody who will listen, get out and vote. That's what we do. But if you don't even bother to vote, shut up. Goes back to live free or die. Freedom means just that. I can be independent. I can think the way I want. Thankfully, there's still a lot of people in New Hampshire that feel that way.
It's easy to feel like my vote doesn't matter, especially when we lose track of all the good our present climate legislation is doing. Look at the Inflation Reduction Act. It just passed in August of 2022, and it's already reducing emissions, creating American jobs, and stimulating local economies. I'm super excited to connect with Liz Burkowski and Tori Lee Brooks, who's not only a super crusher in the mountains, but is also working for the EPA to implement climate policies. Hopefully, she can unlock the portal to Tuckerman's Ravine that has been so elusive for me.
The steepest terrain on the East Coast, Tuckerman Ravine. The ravine itself is littered with hidden obstacles requiring skiers to launch cliffs as high as 25 feet. And at 55 degrees, it's steeper than almost any inbound run in North America.
It is really nice to be back where I grew up and fell in love with winter. And it's so cool to connect you two. Liz was the first scientist we started working with at Protect Our Winters and really helped guide our path with the understanding that, look, we're not going to get the CO2 reduction without policy. And the fact that you're working at the EPA with that policy is really cool to see. How's it going?
It's good. I mean, a lot of the solutions we had, we knew what we needed to do, but we didn't have the backing. So the Inflation Reduction Act definitely changed that.
Yeah, and to see the jobs that it already has created in these rural communities is really nice. It's like US-based solutions being enacted.
It's also a way to foster energy independence. I mean, looking at our landscape, there's no coal, there's no oil, there's no gas anywhere in New Hampshire. But we still heat over half of the homes in New Hampshire with oil. And that oil has to come from somewhere. We import that. But we could free ourselves from that.
Yeah, and I think it's cool to see some of those policies come back home. We're seeing Inflation Reduction Act money helping communities here in New Hampshire, whether it's home efficiency or green infrastructure or improving our energy grid. It all does help our communities, not just the skiing side, but the everyday life side too. That's really important.
Dangerous avalanches consist on all aspects above 3,000 feet. As warm temperatures melt this snowpack, areas of wind-drifted snow large enough to bury people and damage trees may be easily triggered or avalanche naturally. That's concerning.
Main objective would have been kind of Tuckerman Ravine. So now all this new water and all the dripping is not working in our favor. There are other options like over Hellman's, which is a little easier to get in without being really in the worst spot.
One of those pretty simple decisions for me to say not today.
Nice part is that there's always skiing. We get to ski down the Sherburne Trail either way.
Love it.
So there's a bunch of these trails. They're called the CCC trails all around New England. They're quite a gem, especially around here where unless you cut a ski trail through these woods, you're not really getting through them. Yeah, a lot of fun. It's like some banking turns and just kind of cruiser.
All right, we're ripping them, huh?
These policies can often seem complex and their benefits might be hard to grasp at first, but they can bring significant advantages to the communities they serve. The reality is, climate is on the ballot, and we know for democracy to work, everyone needs to vote, no matter what side of the aisle you're on.
All right, Jimmy. Fucking rip the liver off it, bro. Great golf. Jimmy and Rhett. I love this place.
When I heard there was a guy who skied the White Mountains for 30 months in a row, I had to meet him, especially considering he's a climate denier.
This is the East Branch right here. I mean, it's a lifetime of work and dedication.
You did it right here, man. You are a craftsman, man. Yeah, not your typical woodshed.
Real good with wood. That's our logo. You know, if you can make them smile, you can sell them shit, right? So,
you know, it was 33 months.
That's how many? 33 months of consecutive turns in the whites.
Yeah. You know, it just kept going and going as the weather was with us. I mean, you know.
You feel like the conditions and winter's changing up here?
Not really. I mean, yes and no. You know, it's like you think there's a pattern and stuff, and then all of a sudden we get 2 feet of flood. As far as climate change goes, I think it's a bunch of bullshit. You know, I say in that article, the magnetic field of the Earth is changing. It's all affected by the cosmos, mostly the sun, Jupiter, the rings around Jupiter and stuff. The Earth is just, it's gurgling. We're in a giant cooling stage headed for the next ice age. I think Bill Gates is behind it. Global warming's big money. There's more ice now than there ever was, you know. Greta Thunberg, she's not a scientist. She doesn't know anything. Nuclear power is where it's at. Yellowstone could blow up, or we could get hit by a comet. Yeah.
Okay.
To me, dealing with the Earth is a matter of common sense. It's like, yeah, we don't want to dump a ton of fertilizer and chemicals into the water.
Totally.
Every day I go outside and I'm just like, thank you. I don't know who you are or where you are, but obviously I'm here and all of this is here. So someone's trying to do a good thing, you know? And
well, that we definitively agree on 100%. Every day outdoors, the beauty of it all.
Right.
You know, maybe you don't agree on other things.
Yeah, it's a crazy world, man.
It's a crazy world, and for me, the crazier the world gets, the more important it is to get outside and appreciate it on the daily, because that is such a grounding place. In our endlessly divisive world, I'm constantly reminded that the only elixir is unity. A healthy environment and a shared love for the outdoors should be something we can all agree on, no matter our politics. And if that's the case, I'm still betting on a brighter tomorrow.